Yang pravajantam anupeta peta krityam dvaipayano viraka tarva juhava putreti kammayataya taravo banedu tam sarva bhutam hridayam munimanatosmi Bhaktya Mahina Aparadavashay Chaptasya Kamadi Tarangamadi Kripamaitvam Sharanam Prapadyam Vrinde Namaste Charanarvindam Tavaivasmi, na jivami tam vina, iti vigyaya radhe, tam nayamam charanantike. First I offer my unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Diksha Gurudev, Nichalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Astotra Sat Shri Srimad Šrily Bhaktivédanty Swami Prabhupády, and the same unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Shiksha Gurudev, Nichalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Astotra Sat Shri Srimad Šrily Bhaktivédanty Narayana Maharádže, Šrily Bhaktivédanty Narayana Maharádže, Šrily Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Goswami Maharaj, Šrily Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj, Šrily Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj, to our Param Gurudev Šrily Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj, and Šrily Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada on his divine disappearance day, Maha Mahotsav, and to all the assembled devotees.
Vzdávám poklony svému Diksha Guruvi Šrilovi Prabhupádovi, svému Šiksha Guruvi Narayana Maharádžovi a všem dalším Šiksha Guruvům výčet jsem zapomněl a všem připraveným.
Can everybody hear him easily?
Slyší mě všichni dobře?
No problem. Okay, he doesn't need to speak louder?
Potřebuji mluvit hlasitěji?
Okay. So, this is called a Mahotsav. Mahotsav. Utsava means festival.
Toto se nazývá Mahotsav. Utsava znamená festival.
And Mahotsav means a great festival.
A Mahotsav znamená veliký významem festival.
Now, why would we want to observe a great festival on a disappearance day of an acharya when he left?
Veliký festival na odchodu v den odchodu acharya, který odešel.
In fact, it's called a Viraha Mahotsav, a great festival of separation.
V skutečnosti se to nazývá veliký festival odloučení.
The reason is that there's no difference between the appearance and disappearance days of great acharyas.
Důvodem je, že neexistuje rozdíl mezi příchodem a odchodem velkých acharyů.
Both afford us a marvelous opportunity to remember them.
Obojí nám přináší velikou příležitost je vzpomínat.
Simply by doing which we can become liberated from all sufferings of this material world.
Tímto způsobem můžeme být osvobozeni z samotného světa.
Generally, viraha, it means separation, but it has a deeper meaning.
Viraha obecně znamená odloučení, ale má to i hlubší význam.
V means special, and raha means meeting.
V znamená zvláštní a raha znamená setkání.
So in viraha, separation there's viraha, a special meeting.
Takže viraha je odloučení, zvláštní setkání.
As you know from personal experience, in this world,
jak znáte z osobní zkušenosti v tomto světě,
when we feel great separation from someone,
když cítíme od někoho velké
they
odloučení,
become prominent in our consciousness and we feel their presence.
tak převládá ta dotyčná osoba v našich myšlenkách a cítíme její přítomnost.
They're not really present, but we feel their presence.
Oni nejsou v naší přítomnosti, ale my cítíme jejich přítomnost.
Whereas with our acharyas, they're really present.
Zatímco s našimi áčary je to tak, že oni jsou opravdu přítomní.
So both those days are equally worshipful for us.
Takže oba tyto dny, jak příchod, tak odchod, jsou ohledně uctívání z naší strany na stejné úrovni.
This morning, we elaborately explained the pranam mantras of Šrily Bhaktissidhanty Saraswati Thakur
Ráno jsme
Prabhupada.
podrobně vysvětlovali pranama mantry Šrily Bhaktissidhanty Saraswati.
So no need for that tonight. If anyone wants to hear it who wasn't here, it's live streamed on your Facebook page.
Pokud to někdo nebyl a chtěl by to slyšet, bylo to přenášeno na facebookové stránce Molekul.
So tonight we'll just utter the prayers and then I'll explain just a couple of the words that we didn't discuss this morning.
Čili dnes si ty modlitby jenom řekneme a já přidám pár dalších slov, ale nebudeme to diskutovat jako ráno.
Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktisidhanta Saraswati iti namane Shri Varshavanavi Devi Daitaya Kripabdaya Krishna Sambandha Vijnanam Dayane Prabhave Namah Madhu Durjala Pramadya Sri Rupanuga Bhaktida Sri Gaura Karna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostate Namaste Gauravani Sri Martai Janatarine Rupanuga Virudyaka Siddhanta Dvantaharine. Just a PS on that. You know what a PS is? Postscript means just to add something. It's very, 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 lots of varies, important to know the meanings of the prayers that we're uttering.
Je to velice, velice, velice důležité znát význam modliteb, které jsme říkali.
It's even very important to understand what each word means.
Je také velice důležité rozumět, co každé slovo znamená.
So that when we utter the prayer, so many deep thoughts can come to us.
Takže když tu modlitbu vyslovujeme, tak nám přichází mnoho hlubokých myšlenek.
Like for example, we discussed these mantras threadbare this morning.
Jako když jsme dnes ráno diskutovali.
So let me ask those who were here this morning, when you were uttering the prayers, we were uttering the prayers together, didn't you get more out of it than usual?
Ti, co jste tu byli ráno a necítili jste z toho při vyslovení.
So here's the meanings, and then we'll just discuss a couple of words that we missed this morning. I offer pranam to Om Vishnupad, Shri Srimad Bhaktivédanty Saraswati Thakur Prabhupády, who in this world is most dear to Krishna.
Vzdávám poklony.
Is there another book that he could look at?
Yeah.
Good. Great.
Vzdávám poklony Šrily Bhaktissidhanty Saraswati, který je velice dávý Krishna.
It was a long one, I know. Okay.
Okay. Vzdávám námi Om Vishnupádovi, Šrily Bhaktissidhanty Saraswati Gosvámi Thakurovi Prabhupádovi, který je velice drahý Krishnovi.
Then the next, I offer pranam to Shri Varshavanavi Devi Dayatadas, the manifestation of an ocean of mercy, who bestows realization of our eternal relationship with Sri Krishna.
Také vzdávám své poklony Šrily Prabhupády, která je oceánem milosti a velice drahá věčná společnice Šrí Rády a Krišny. Okay.
Next, O Srila Saraswati Thakur, you deliver Sri Rupanuga Bhakti, which is enriched with Ujjvala Madhurya Prem.
O Srila Saraswati Thakur si milostí inkarnace Šri Gaurangi Mahaprabhu.
You are the embodiment of the mercy potency of Sri Gauranga.
Si stělesněním milosti Šri Gaurangi.
I offer my pranam unto you.
Vzdávám ti své poklony.
I offer obeisances to you, the embodiment of Sri Gauranga's message.
Vzdávám poklony stělesnění poselství Šri Gaurangi.
You deliver the fallen and remove the darkness of philosophical misconception.
The translation here is misleading. It's different.
Tam je to trošku jinak.
Yeah, so it's better if I stick with your words because it's misleading. It's different translation here.
Ty jsi zachránce pokleslých a odstraňuješ veškerý nepochopení.
That are opposed to the precepts taught by Srila Rupa Goswami. You remove the darkness of philosophical misconceptions that are opposed to the precepts taught by Srila Rupa Goswami. So we pray that to him daily.
Takže my se k němu takto denně modlíme.
And by saying these prayers daily, our relationship develops and develops.
A vyslovováním těchto modliteb každodenně náš vztah se vyvíjí a vyvíjí.
So the first thing that we're going to talk about today is the days coming close to his disappearance and then his actual disappearance.
Takže první věc, kterou dneska budeme rozebírat, je přiblížit se jeho odchodu a skutečnému.
In his very last days, he met with many of his disciples.
Skutečnému odchodu v posledních dnech se setkal s mnoha svými žáky.
And one of those disciples was our Param Gurudev Šrila Bhaktivédanty Narayana Maharádže.
A jedním z těchto žáků byl náš Param Gurudev, to je Šrila Maharádže.
Who is the guru of our Shiksha Guru Šrila Bhaktivédanty Narayana Maharádže. And he heard from his Guru Maharaj, Šrila Bhaktivédanty Narayana what transpired in that day.
A ten od svého guru Šrily Maharádže slyšel, co se ten den stalo.
That's how we know what happened.
A to je, jak ví, co se stalo.
So he said to all of them, I'm very unhappy because what I came to give, I wasn't fully able to spend sufficient time in giving that.
Takže on všem řekl, já jsem velice nešťastný, protože to, s čím jsem přišel, jsem nebyl dostatečně schopen.
I came to give the mood of Vipralamba Bhav, or the performance of bhajan with a tremendous feeling of separation from the service of Radha and Krishna and from the associates of Radha and Krishna. The epitome of that might be Srila Narottam Das Thakur, who says in his prayer, Jayani Lo Premadana, which we sing on the disappearance days of the acharyas.
Šrila Narottama Das Thakur ve své modlitbě, kterou zpíváme při odchodu acharyů, říká:
I'm feeling so much separation from all the associates of Mahaprabhu
cítím tolik odloučení od společníků Chaitanya Mahaprabhu,
that I'm ready to bash my head against the stone and jump into the fire.
že jsem připraven rozmlátit se hlavu o kámen a skočit do plamenů.
So he said that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally ordered me to come to this world to give this vipralamba or separation mood and gopi prem.
Řekl, že Chaitanya Mahaprabhu osobně řekl, aby šířil tuto náladu odloučení a gopi prema.
Again, gopi prem does not mean the prem of gopis like Lalita and Vishaka and Radha.
Neznamená prema gopi, jako je Lalita Vishaka.
It means the prem of Rupa Manjari, Rati Manjari, and the other Manjaris.
A dalších manžarí.
He said, but I spent most of my time in cutting jungles.
Že strávil spoustu času
I was cutting the jungles of Mayavad, Sahajiya, Saki Beki, sense gratification.
Sekáním přirovnal k sekání džungly, Majavády, smyslového uspokojování, různých dalších směrů.
You have only one life, so beg, borrow or steal, but get ghee. Charvak, the great atheist statement.
Jenom jeden život, takže rozestřípá.
Buď toho ukradni, nebo ho kup, ale získej ten klíč.
Jo, ukradni to, kup to, jakkoliv, ale získej ten klíč.
Destroying philosophical misconceptions is essential, because as long as Mayavad and Sahajiya
filozofických miskoncepcí je důležité
remains prominent in the world,
protože Majaváda a Sahajiya
the seed of bhakti cannot sprout.
Pokud jsou ve světě, pokud převládají, tak semínko bhakti nemůže.
But even though I spend so much time doing that, there's so many jungles left.
Tolik času tím trávil,
so I'm very unhappy.
Pořád je kolem tolik té džungle.
As we discussed this morning, he did implant pure bhakti, and his disciples have followed that.
A jak jsme dnes ráno diskutovali, tak on zasadil opravdu to semínko bhakti a jeho žáci to následovali.
So, then all of a sudden his mood changed, and his face turned red.
Jeho nálada změnila a zčervenal v obličeji.
And then he sang this verse.
Potom řekl tento verš.
And if you know it, please utter it with me.
A pokud ho znáte,
Yasha kadapi vasanančala kelenota dhanyati danda pavanena kritartamani yogindra durga magati madhusudanopi tasya namostu vrishabhanu bhuvodishepi. Which means that I offer my obeisances to the direction of the air that assisted Radharani in her service to Krishna. I offer my obeisances to the direction of the dust of her lotus feet. Krishna was trying to appease her transcendental loving jealous anger.
Krishna se snažil sklidnit její transcendentální žárlivý hněv.
But she wouldn't accept his pleas.
Ale ona to neakceptovala.
So she was sitting on one side of Radha Kund.
Takže seděla na jedné straně Radha Kund.
And he went to the other side.
A on šel na druhou stranu.
And just lamented.
A naříkal.
That I'm feeling so much separation from Radha because she won't speak to me.
Tolik odloučení od Radhy, protože ona se mnou nemluví.
So, as you may have heard, everything in the spiritual world is fully conscious.
Jak jste asi slyšeli, tak všechno v duchovním světě je plně vědomé.
The water, the air,
Voda, vzduch,
the stones, the mountains,
kameny, hory,
everything.
všechno.
So the air wanted to do some service to bring Radha and Krishna together.
Takže vzduch chtěl udělat nějakou službu, aby přivedl Rádhu a Krišnu.
So the air went under Radharani's veil and captured her fragrance.
Takže vzduch, nebo ten vítr vstoupil pod závoj Radharani a zachytil její vůni.
And carried that fragrance across Radhakund
A přenesl tu vůni přes
And went-
Radhakund
right into the nostrils of Krishna.
přímo k nosu Krišny.
And when that happened, Krishna began to think, oh, I've attained Radharani, now my life is successful.
A když se to stalo, tak Krišna si pomyslel, nyní je můj život úspěšný, když jsem dosáhla Radharani.
Just as Krishna is absolute, so Srimati Radhika is absolute.
Stejně jako je
So her
absolutní
fragrance
Krišna
is not different from her
je
presence.
absolutní i Radhika, proto její vůně není odlišná od její přítomnosti.
So that Krishna who is not attained, is even a slight glimmer of his lotus feet is not attained by the greatest of yogis, like Brahma.
Takže ten
Shiva.
samý Krišna, jehož ani zábles jeho lotosových nohou nedosáhli
Narada.
jako Brahma, Shiva, Narada.
That Krishna is thinking his life
Ten
successful
samý Krišna považuje svůj
by
život za
attaining the
úspěšný,
fragrance of Srimati
Tím, že-
Radhika.
ucítil vůni Šrimati Radhiky.
So in the mood of Radharani's maidservants, Šrily Prabhupády Bhaktivédanty Narayana Thakur uttered that verse.
Čili Šrila Bhaktissidhanty Narayana vyslovuje tento verš v náladě služebnice Šrimati Radhiky.
Then he uttered another verse ending in Chanamapi
A potom vyslovil další verš, který končil
Chanamapi nama radhe netramanandaya tvam. The meaning of that verse
A tento verš znamená,
is that he's offering his obeisances
že vzdává své
to
poklony
Radha and Krishna,
Rádě a Krišnovi,
who are engaged in loving discussions
kteří jsou zaměstnáni v
and
milostné
embracing each other so tightly that they appear to be one.
a objímají se tak pevně, že vypadají, že jsou jednotní.
Isn't it terrible to talk about these things in public?
Není hrozné mluvit veřejně o takových věcech?
What happens when Radha and Krishna become one?
Co se stane, když Radha a Krišna jsou jedním?
They become the supreme renunciate of the universe, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Jsou nejvyšším odříkáním tohoto vesmíru Chaitanya Mahaprabhu,
Who didn't want to sleep on anything but a cold, hard floor.
který nespal na ničem než na studené holé zemi.
And was always feeling the ecstasy of separation from
A
Krishna.
neustále cítil extázi odloučení od Krišny.
So that's when Radha and Krishna become one.
To je, když se Ráda a Krišna stanou jedním.
Then he began speaking about there's different kinds of bhavs of the gopis.
Začal mluvit o různých
His mood is now he's turning different colors.
druzích bhávy, gopí a
And he
jeho obličení měl barvy.
He begins to talk about the difference between the mood of Chandravali, the chief rival of Radha, and right-wing gopi.
Mluvil o rozdílu v bávě Chandravali, a což je hlavní soupeřka Rádhy, to pravé křídlo gopí,
who is possessed of tadiya bhav, the thinking that I am Krishna's.
která zažívá Tadya bhávu, což si myslí, já jsem Krishna.
Krishnava.
Krishnava. Já jsem Krishna.
As opposed to Srimati Radhika's bhav of madhya bhav,
Na rozdíl od bhávy Šrimati
the
Radhiky,
mood that
což je
Krishna is mine.
Madhya bháva, Krishna je můj.
which brings Krishna totally under her control.
Což přináší Krišnu zcela pod její
So Krishna is
vládu.
very eager to carry out all her orders.
Čili Krišna je velice ochotný a dychtivý vykonat všechny její pokyny a příkazy.
All the big demigods
Všichni velcí
follow
průvodci
the orders of Krishna,
následují pokyny Krišny
and Krishna follows the orders of
a
Radha.
Krišna následuje pokyny Radhy.
So we can't imagine her glory.
Takže si nedokážeme představit tu její slávu.
Yo Brahma Rudra Sukanada da Bhishma Mokyai Lakshitana Sahasa Purushashatasha Sadhya Vasikarana Churnam Ananta Shaktim Tam Radhika Paricharami Anusmarami. That is, the big demigods like Brahma, Shiva,
Velcí průvodci
Narada,
jako Brahma,
Suka.
Shiva, Narada, Suka.
They can barely get a vision of the dust of the lotus feet of Brajendranandan Shamsundar.
Stěží mohou zahlédnout prach lotusových nohou.
But that same
Ale ten samý,
supreme
ta
personality
sama
of
nejvyšší
Godhead,
osobnost božství,
he faints simply by the glimmer of the sidelong glance of Srimati Radhika. He becomes fully under control.
on je zcela pod vládou Šrimati Radhiky.
Which glance is full of Ananta Shakti, or unlimited power.
Pod jejím pohledem.
Jejíž pohled je plný Ananta Shakti, neomezené moci.
So he lamented to his disciples that I wanted to give this Rupanuga Bhakti to everyone in the world.
Takže Bhaktivédanty Saraswati naříkal před svými žáky, chtěl jsem toto Rupanuga
I
Bhakti
wanted to
všem.
inspire
Na-
Halya Shakti Bhav, or the mood of the unpaid, sheltered maidservant of Srimati Radhika.
Chtěl jsem dát tuto náladu těch služebních Šrimati Radhiky.
So now all of you, he's saying to them,
A říkal těm žákům, nyní všichni z vás
gather together
jste se,
and serve under the direction of Ashraya Tattva.
se shromážděte a služte ve směru
Podřízením Ashrily Tattva.
podřízení Ashraya Tattva.
What is Ashraya Tattva? Tattva means philosophical truth or principle.
Tattva je filozofická pravda nebo filozofický princip.
And God comes in two ways.
A Bůh přichází dvěma způsoby.
There's Vishaya Bhagavan and Ashraya Bhagavan.
Vishaya Bhagavan a
Ashraya.
Ashraya Bhagavan.
So Vishaya Bhagavan is Krishna himself,
Vishaya Bhagavan je samotný Krishna,
the supreme enjoyer.
nejvyšší proživatel.
And Ashraya Bhagavan
Ashraya
is
Bhagavan
also manifestation of Krishna
je také manifestace
as
Krishny
the shelter, the reservoir, the container of love and service to that Vishaya Bhagavan.
Jako rezervoár služby Vishaya Bhagavan.
Talk about self-service. That was a joke. You know, somebody's self-serving, they're just like absorbing themselves. So Krishna is too.
Takže
He manifests as the Guru Parampara to serve him.
Takže Krishna se manifestuje jako Guru Parampara, aby vlastně sloužil sám sobě.
And so then he's saying that I know that I've given great suffering to so many people.
Takže on říká, já vím, že dávám hodně utrpení tolika lidem.
I've snatched away cultured and educated boys and girls from their families.
Já jsem vlastně ukradl vzdělané chlapce a dívky jejich rodinám.
And their families are furious with me.
A jejich rodiny jsou na mě rozlobeny.
I also created opposition by many groups, samajas, groups in Navadvipa and Vrindavan.
Také jsem vytvořil opozici v mnoha skupinách Navadvipu a Vrindavanu.
Like the caste Brahmins,
Jako,
who had a very lucrative business
vůči kastovým brahmanům, kteří mají lukrativní biznis.
by preaching that
Kázání
if
toho,
one is born in a Brahmin family, then one is automatically a Brahmana.
že pokud se někdo narodí v brahmanské rodině, je automaticky brahmana.
Whereas Šrily Prabhupády was very opposed to the Sahajiya philosophies, the caste Brahmin philosophies, teaching that Brahmanism is a quality, it doesn't come by birth.
Takže Šrila Prabhupáda byl velice v opozici vůči těmto brahminickým učením, že brahmanem se člověk stává zrozením.
And taking people from the lower caste and anywhere without considering their birth
Přijímal
and making them Brahmins.
i nízkých kast bez ohledu na jejich zrození a dělal z nich brahmany.
Just as bell metal, quoting Srila Sanatana Goswami, just as bell metal mixed with mercury
Podobně jako mosa smíchaná s rtutí
in the correct alchemical combination
a
becomes gold.
správnou alchemickou příměsí se z ní stává zlato.
So any ordinary person can become
Tak
a
jakákoliv
great
obyčejná
Brahmana,
osoba se může
the
stát
highest caste,
velikým brahmanou
by proper initiation from a bona fide guru.
té nejvyšší kasty s vhodným zasvěcením bona fide guru.
Then he said, but one day they will all realize,
A říkal,
that is the family members and these caste brahmanas, sahajiyas, mayavadis, they'll all realize that I did good for them, good for the people who came to me and good for the world.
A říkal, jednoho dne si oni všichni uvědomí, jak ty rodiny, kterým jsem vzal ty jejich děti, tak ti kastovní brahmaní, sahajiyové, majavádiní, že jsem to vlastně dělal pro jejich dobro i pro dobro vlastně světa.
One day they will repent that they were opposed to me.
Jednoho dne vlastně budou litovat toho, že mi oponovali.
Just incidentally, our Srila Prabhupada told of one incident
Zcela náhodou jednou náš Šrila Prabhupáda
in that regard of opposition.
mluvil o události.
These caste Brahmins were so envious of him that he was getting all the popularity, all the money, all the manpower.
Kdy kastovní brahmani byli tak závistiví vůči němu, že získal veškerou popularitu, peníze a tak dále.
Because by his presence they became tired of being cheated and became attracted to the truth that he was preaching.
Že jenom tím jeho přítomností se stali přitahováni k pravdě, kterou on kázal.
They were accustomed to get rid of people who were in their way. So they bribed the police
Takže oni se snažili,
to kill him.
aby lidi k němu nechodili a uplatili i policii, aby ho zabili.
So the police came to him
Takže policajti k němu přišli
and they told him,
a řekli mu,
we do take bribes, but for great saints we never take a bribe.
Bereme úplatky, ale nikdy nebereme úplatky od velkých svědců.
But we just want to warn you because this is going on.
Ale chceme tě jenom varovat, co se děje.
And of course you've heard about what happened at Praudamaya in Navadvip,
Asi jste slyšeli, co se stalo v Navadvipu, Praudamaya.
the place of Lord Shiva and Durga Devi.
To je místo
One of the
Pána
holy
Šivy a
places
Durga Devi,
there in
jedno ze
Navadvip.
svatých míst Navadvipu.
So he was there
On tam
with
byl
5,000 pilgrims.
s 5,000 poutníky.
And in his kirtan party, couldn't you imagine a kirtan party with 5,000?
Byl tam kirtan 5,000 lidí.
And like it was so fabulous hearing Sita's mridanga playing, and that's just one.
představte, jak je úžasné poslouchat
Can you imagine if there were 108
Haru
seaters?
Damaidan Goci, můžete si představit, když je jich tam 100, říkala.
So in that parikrama party, those who were envious of his ever-increasing popularity, the caste brahmanas, they decided to kill him
Takže, protože
right in
narostla
public.
ta jeho popularita, tak ti
So they and other local followers of them stationed themselves on the roofs around, rooftops.
Takže se postavili oni a jejich následovníci na střechy budov kolem
And they were throwing broken soda bottles and rocks.
a házeli kameny a
Zápalný lahve.
rozbité lahve.
So whereas many in his party just ran for their lives, Srila Bhaktivédanty Goswami Maharaj, our Param Gurudev, grabbed him and brought him into a Grihasta's home.
Takže všichni se na tom kirtanu rozprchli, jak Šrila Maharaj vzal Prabhupádu do nějakého domu Grihasty.
And insisted that he change clothes with him. That is, they were both tall and they both looked kind of similar.
On navrhl, aby si
vyměnili
oblečení.
Na ně, aby se prohodili oblečení, protože měli podobné postavy, byli se podobní.
So he insisted that Srila Prabhupada change clothes with him. He was wearing white,
Takže trval
and
na
so
tom,
he took Prabhupada's saffron cloth and danda
aby si vyměnili oblečení, takže se vzal
and sent Prabhupada out the back door.
Prabhupádovu šafranové oblečení a dandu a poslal Prabhupádu zadními dveřmi.
And also one of the and so then he came out, and at that time the police came.
Vyšel ven a v tu chvíli přijeli policajti.
And they found Srila Prabhupada and asked them, who did this?
Našli Šrilu Prabhupádu a ptali se, kdo to udělal.
And Prabhupada said, no one.
Prabhupáda řekl nikdo.
And so his followers and the police were trying to convince him, but if you don't tell us, actually his devotees were trying to convince him, if you don't give any names, then we'll always be in danger in our parikrama party.
Oni říkali, jestli nedostaneme nějaký jméno, jestli neřeknete, kdo to byl, tak
this is an example
stále
of
budete
his.
nebezpeční.
This is an example of his being the embodiment of Trinadapi Sunichana, or
Toto je
more humble than a blade of grass,
příklad toho, kdy byl
more tolerant than a
než
tree,
tráva, snášenlivější
devoid
než
of all
strom
sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respects to others.
a neměl žádnou falešnou prestiž, vždycky byl ochotný
So when they were trying to insist that he gives
dávat ústu
the people who did that, he said, oh, no harm. Actually, this whole thing was very favorable.
Takže když vlastně
They only wanted to hurt my body. That's not a big deal.
na ty lidi, kteří ho chtěli mu ublížit, tak on říká vlastně,
The big deal
se nic nestalo,
is how favorable the whole
protože oni chtěli
incident
zranit jenom
is.
moje tělo, ale hlavní je, jak to bylo celé přínosné, jako celá ta událost.
If we had millions of rupees, we wouldn't have had the coverage, the news coverage that we got.
Kdybychom měli miliony rupí, tak bychom nedokázali prostě se dostat tak do zpráv, jako nyní.
So many people who've never heard of Gaudiya Math before,
Tolik lidí, kteří nikdy neslyšeli o Gaudiya Mathu,
and even kings of Jaipur and other places,
i králové Jaipuru a dalších míst,
began to inquire about this incident.
se začali ptát na tuto událost.
So this is actually a great service.
Takže to ve skutečnosti velká služba.
And then he began to tell them
Pak jim řekl,
what to do with themselves, the disciples. This is just before he left.
co dělat těm žákům těsně předtím, než odešel.
He said, don't quarrel among yourself,
Řekl jim, nehádejte se mezi sebou.
and don't engage in any activities to possess something or to have any position in this
Ani
world.
nenechte se vtáhnout do žádných činností, které zapříčiní, že budete něco vlastnit v tomto světě.
Consider possessions and positions as useless.
Považujte vlastnictví i postavení za zbytečné.
And Šrila Prabhupada is known for instructing to consider praise of this body to be no more valuable than the dry stool of a boar.
Šrila Prabhupáda je známý tím, že považuje modlit nebo chválu jeho těla za nic víc než výkaly divočáka.
And he instructed them, don't even let the diseases of the body which disturb the mind affect you. Just concentrate on your goal.
Řekl jim, aby se soustředte se pouze na svůj cíl, nenechte vlastně, could you please repeat the last one?
Do not consider the disease of the body and the cell.
Yeah, like we always get disturbed, I always get disturbed.
Okay.
Whenever something is wrong with my health, it goes to my mind, that's all I can think about.
Okay. Nenechte všechno to, co vás rozrušuje kolem vašeho těla, aby vás odchýlilo od toho cíle, který máte.
Then he continued, one day this body will become so old,
Jednoho dne se toto
it will be poisoned by diseases
tělo stane
and be
tak
finished.
starým, že bude otráveno nemocemi a skončí.
So therefore engage this wretched body in the service of Krishna and you'll be successful.
Proto toto tělo zaměstnejte ve službě Krišnovi a budete úspěšní.
Offer this body into the fire of the sacrifice of service to
Obětujte
Sri
to
Krishna.
tělo ohni služby Krišnovi.
Under the guidance of Ashraya Tattva or bona fide Guru
Pod
Tattva.
vedením Ashvaya Tattva nebo bona fide Guru Tattva.
And then he left.
A poté odešel.
So after he left, he had one disciple
Poté, co odešel
named Bhaktivédanty Tirtha, who at that time was not yet sannyasi,
který v té
but
době
he
ještě
was
nebyl sannyasi.
he was a big manager of all the mutts.
Byl to
Very
manažer
good
přes všechny
manager.
ty maty.
So he decided, let's cremate, burn the body.
Oh.
Like,
Rozhodl tedy spopelněme to tělo.
so again, our Param Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, requested, no, don't do that.
Kešava Maharaj řekl, ne, to nedělejme.
I'm going to take his transcendental divine body
Vezmu jeho transcendentální božské tělo
on a train to Mayapur.
Do Mayapuru.
And there, living with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Samadhi, he will guide us forever
A tam bude
from his Samadhi
s
place.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhem Samadhi a věčně nás povede.
And now we see that people from all over the world are going to visit his Samadhi.
A nyní vidíme,
In
že
Mayapur.
lidé z celého světa chodí do Mayapuru navštívit jeho Samadhi.
But still there was opposition, not only from Tirtha Maharaj but from others.
Byla k tomu ale opozice nejen od Tirthy Maharaj, ale i od ostatních.
So then Param Gurudev became very angry and he stood by the divine body of Šrily Prabhupády
Param Gurudev se velice rozlobil a postavil se
and
před
said,
mužské tělo.
you'll have to fight with me if you want his body.
Jestli chcete
to Mayapur.
jeho tělo, musíte bojovat se mnou.
Let's see anyone stop me.
Vidíme, jestli mě někdo zastaví.
So he managed to get a train and put the divine body of Prabhupada on the train with so many others, and they went from Calcutta, where he disappeared, which is like the ghat
Takže zařídil
leading to
vlak,
Mayapur, the
kam
Mayapur
naložili
ghat.
to tělo z Kalkaty do Mayapuru, ještě s dalšími oddanými tam jeli.
And then they brought him to where he is now.
A přinesli ho tam, kde je teď.
And there were by then there were thousands. Just like the moment our Gurudev left, immediately it was heard by thousands all over the world, and people were buying tickets for the next hour to get to Navadvip.
Okamžitě prostě tisíce lidí se tam dostat, skupovali lístky do Navadvipu.
And Vrindavan, there were hundreds of Vrindavan all took the next train.
A stovky oddaných ve Vrindavanu taky hned na další vlak, aby tam přijeli.
So then there were thousands with big kirtans.
Takže tam
And
tisíce
Param Gurudev
oddaných.
and lots of assistants personally dug his samadhi
Takže
and
Parampara se svými
gave him
asistenty
samadhi.
osobně vykopali to samadhi.
What is samadhi?
Co je samadhi?
When Srila Gurudev gave samadhi to Šrily Prabhupády.
Když,
I mean, not when he just did. Prabhupada asked him to place him in samadhi, which is usually the order that the acharya gives to his successor, spiritual successor.
Šrila Prabhupáda požádal Narayana Maharádže, aby ho umístil v samadhi, což je vlastně tradiční pokyn k tomu, že vlastně dává nebo označuje duchovního následovníka.
So he told about the giving of samadhi to our Prabhupada. He said, this is exactly like my Guru Maharaj, Gurudev's Guru Maharaj, did for Srila Prabhupada, I did for your Prabhupada.
Takže Šrila Gurudev Narayana Maharádže říká, vlastně to, co udělal Guru Maharaj pro Prabhupádu Bhaktissidhantu, tak já jsem udělal pro vlastně Prabhupádu Bhaktivédantu.
So he explained, he was at our Bombay Juhu Beach temple, ISKCON Juhu Beach, in Prabhupada's quarters.
Takže byl v Bombayi v chrámu.
There were about 200 devotees there.
Bylo tam asi 200 oddaných.
So he was explaining what happened on that day.
A vysvětloval, co se ten den stalo.
He said he knew what is samadhi, and so he asked me to give him that samadhi.
On říkal, on věděl, co je samadhi a požádal mě, abych mu to samadhi.
So what is samadhi, he said?
Takže co je samadhi?
Samadhi. Dhi means a mental conception or intelligence.
Dhi znamená mentální pojetí inteligence.
And sama means the same.
Sama znamená totéž.
So when an acharya is given samadhi,
Takže když acharya dává samadhi,
of course it's all a pastime because he never left the spiritual
je to
world in the
samozřejmě
first
zábava,
place.
protože v první řadě nikdy neopustil duchovní svět.
Yet he just manifests here.
On se tady jenom manifestuje.
Like the sun is where it is, but it manifests
Stejně
here.
jako slunce je tam, kde je, ale manifestuje se.
And it seems to appear in the morning and disappear in the
Jo,
evening.
zdá se, že ráno vychází, večer zapadá.
So similarly the acharya.
Podobně acharya.
Or if you're in your house and somebody's walking by your window,
Když jste ve svém domě a
that time means that you see him in your window.
někdo
that he's here.
prochází kolem vašeho domu a vy ho vidíte vlastně skrz to okno.
I'll just take a DVD I'm saying, because what I just did was I quoted from a harmonist article by Param Gurudev about the nature of separation from an acharya.
Já jsem citovala z časopisu Harmonist z článku.
But in the same article he was explaining the nature of separation from a transcendental personality is something very unique in this world.
A v tom článku bylo i vysvětlováno, že separation from
a pure acharya.
Okay, odloučení čistého acharya.
So he gave the example of when actors perform Ram Leela.
Když herci hrají Rama Leelu.
And you know, Ravana kidnaps Sita, and Ram is looking for Sita, and he's weeping. And then the worst thing that happens is when he abandons her twice. And so Param Gurudev is saying that people go to that drama, and even though they know what's going to happen before, they weep when they watch those scenes. And then what do? They bring all their friends to come the next day. Because the sadness of separation is another kind of ecstasy. All right, so back to Samadhi. So the acharya is performing the pastime of
takže Acharya
entering into the summa, the same
zábavu,
disposition
kdy vstupuje
as his worshipful deity.
do té samé,
So he comes to the same place or level or position
do té
of
samé úrovně jako
Srimati Radhika.
uctívané
But that doesn't mean Srimati Radhika.
na úroveň jako je Šrimati Radhika, ale to neznamená, že je Šrimati Radhika.
It means
To znamená
Rupa Manjari
Rupa Manjari
and the Rupa Manjari's followers.
a následovně.
And then that acharya become, because he already is,
se stává v uvozovkách
engaged in the same activities as Rupa
ve
Manjari.
stejných aktivitách jako Rupa Manjari.
For example,
Například
they want to train, Gurudev is saying this, what I'm saying now. They want to train Srimati Radhika how not to be afraid at night when it's cold and rainy and scary and there's snakes and spooky looking trees, when she wants to go out and meet Krishna in the middle of the night.
Oni vlastně cvičí nebo trénují, radí Šrimati Radhice, jak se nebát v noci, když je tma, jsou tam hádí a já nevím co, když jde ven a má se potkat s Krishnou.
So when her in-laws aren't there, they take her courtyard and they put all over it muddy water with some stones and thorns.
Takže když tam nejsou rodiče, tak ji vemou ven a do nějaký je tam
rozhážou kameny, trny, prostě
drny,
udělají
bláto,
bahno.
vodu, prostě nepříznivé podmínky vytvoří.
And then even a photo of a snake.
Obrázek hada.
A i obrázky hada.
To train her
aby
in going out on her
trénovali,
tryst with
jak to jít v noci ven.
So this is the meaning of samadhi, to become of the same
A toto je význam samadhi,
intellectual disposition.
být vlastně v té samé intelektuální dispozici.
So just some things about Šrily Prabhupády's growing up.
Teď ještě pár věcí o
Because it's his disappearance day, we were discussing disappearance pastimes. And now we'll just discuss a bit of his growing up.
o jeho growing up in which sense?
As a boy, as a
Okay,
young man.
o vyrůstání Šrily Prabhupády.
So when he was a young boy, his father gave him a deity of Kurma, Krishna's Kurma, right?
Mm-hmm.
To worship.
Jeho otec mu dal božstvo Kurmy a k uctívání.
And also initiation into Harinam.
A zasvěcení na Harinam.
Harinam mantra. And mantra for Kurma as well.
A mantru pro Kurmu taky.
Well, let's go back a bit more to before he was born.
Pojďme kousek zpátky předtím, než se narodil.
There was a foretelling
Byla
that
předpověď,
a very great personality will take birth in Utkal, meaning Orissa, Jagannath Puri.
že se v Orisse Jagannath Puri narodí velice vznešená osobnost.
Then his father, Šrily Bhaktivédanty Narayana
Potom jeho otec Bhaktivédanty Narayana,
who happens to be a manifestation of Gadadhar Pandit, who's Radharani
který je
herself.
manifestací Gadadhara Pandita Radharani samotná.
He was fighting against all these opposing
On bojoval
misconceptions as
proti
well.
všem těmto špatným filozofiím, jako Mayavada Sahaja.
And so he wanted to get a son who could continue in his
On
learning.
chtěl získat syn, pokračovat v tomto.
So he prayed to Krishna, please
Takže
send
se
me
modlil ke Krišnovi.
somebody from your party.
Prosím tě, pošli mi někoho ze svých společníků.
And then, when Šrily Prabhupada was born,
A poté, když se Šrila Prabhupád narodil,
our Prabhupada explained that he was born with his
náš Prabhupád
umbilical cord, just like a Brahman's thread, wrapped around him like a
vysvětloval, že
Brahman's
měl
thread.
pupeční šňůru ovázanou jako brahmanskou šňůru.
And natural impressions of tilak.
A přirozeně tilak, nebo známky, otisky tilaku.
And his parents named him Bimala Prasad,
Jeho rodiče ho pojmenovali Bimala Prasad,
meaning the mercy of Bimala.
což je milost Bimaly.
Bimala is the consort of Lord Jagannath,
Bimala je,
representing the 16,000 queens, because Jagannath Puri.
je,
Společnící nebo ženou.
je společnící pána Jagannatha.
And then when he was 6 months old,
Když mu bylo 6 měsíců,
that was the time of the Rath Yatra festival.
tak bylo období Rathayatry.
And Šrila Bhaktivédanty Thakur
A
was the magistrate of the temple.
Bhaktivédanty Thakur byl úředníkem nebo v chrámu.
So, because Jagannath
Nebo správcem
always
chrámu.
stops for some time, during Mahaprabhu's time he stopped for a long time, and then all the elephants and the king's men couldn't move the cart, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu moved the cart with his head.
Jednou Jagannath se zastavil a nikdo s ním nemohl pohnout. A Chaitanya Mahaprabhu
Pushed the cart with his
svojí
head.
hlavou potlačil.
Again indicating the supremacy of Radharani taking Krishna back to Vrindavan.
Což zase indikuje svrchovanost Radharani, když bere Krishnu zpět do Vrindavanu.
So the cart stopped by Srila Bhaktivédanty Thakur's house.
A ten vůz s Jagannathem teď se zastavil před domem Šrily Bhaktivédanty.
So this was the time of his grain ceremony. So they took the opportunity to bring him up to the cart and lie him down in front of Lord Jagannath.
Takže oni využili příležitost a vzali ho na ten vůz, položili ho před pána Jagannatha.
And then right away, one of Lord Jagannath's garland fell onto
A
the baby's
najednou
body.
jedna z garland pána Jagannatha spadla přímo na jeho tělo.
So gradually he became older, and then he went to university.
A potom postupně vyrostl a šel na univerzitu.
But he was thinking that I have not come to this world to count the stars in the sky and the sands of the earth.
I haven't come for this world to...
To count.
Počítal hvězdy na
Aha,
nebi.
nepřišel jsem na tento svět proto, abych počítal hvězdy na nebi.
I've come for a much more important mission.
Přišel jsem pro mnohem důležitější misi.
So he quit the university before he graduated.
Takže odešel z univerzity předtím, než ji dokončil.
And because he was so expert in astronomy
A protože byl
and just a genius in general,
a obecně to byl genius,
the heads of the university wanted to give him the position, a chair,
představení té univerzity mu chtěli
as head
dát
of the department.
nějakou pozici jako vedoucího nějakého oddělení na té univerzitě.
But he refused to take it
Ale on to
for that
odmítl.
reason. But they just kept it for him forever.
Ale oni to pro něho drželi na věky.
So then his father started thinking,
A pak si jeho
well,
otec začal
how is
myslet,
he going to maintain himself? Now he's quit college.
není přes končil
So
školu, jak
it
se
so
o sebe
happened
postará.
that the king, one of the local kings,
A jeden z místních králů,
he asked that Bhaktivédanty Thakur's son teach his son.
a
You know, like, what do you
požádal
call that when they learn at home? Like a tutor.
Bhaktivédanty Thakura, aby učil jeho syna, svého syna toho krále.
So Prabhupada was teaching his son, but because of Prabhupada's
Takže
just
Prabhupada
nature, the
učil,
son was becoming more and more inclined to Vaishnavism
učil toho
and
syna
renunciation.
a vlivem vlastně Prabhupády ten syn více a více inklinoval k vašnavismu a k odříkání.
So the queen became very worried.
Takže královna byla, si začala dělat
And she
starosti.
told her husband, if this goes on, I'm just going to take poison and die.
A
Fire him. I don't want my son to leave home.
řekla manželovi prostě, hele, vyhoď ho, já nechci, aby nám pak syn odešel pod jeho vlivem.
So the king told Srila Bhaktivédanty Thakur
Takže král řekl Šrily Bhaktivédanty
that
Thakurovi,
we can't keep him anymore, but
nemůžeme,
I'll pay him the same salary even if he's not working anymore.
už se ho nemůžeme nechat, ale budu mu platit tu samou mzdu, i když už nebude toho syna učit.
So Srila Bhaktivédanty Thakur didn't accept the money.
Šrila Bhaktivédanty Narayana ty peníze nepřijmou.
And it so happened that they had a very big library of all kinds of scriptures.
No a,
So he was able to study that for the whole time that he
no
was
a oni tam měli
teaching.
obrovskou knihovnu se všemi možnými písmy, takže v době, kdy on učil toho syna, tak mohl studovat písma.
So again, Srila Bhaktivédanty Thakur became worried. So he gave him the management of that
Takže,
Gaudiya Math temple, which wasn't developed at that time. But he found they had the deities of who? Deities of Panchatattva there, deities of Gaur Vishnu Priya, Lakshmi Priya.
Chrám, kde byly božstva Panchatattva, Lakshmi Priya.
And so he became caretaker of the temple.
Takže ho
And then later on,
nechal starat se o ten chrám.
and then he did austerities of doing, forget how many rounds, a million rounds,
A
a
později
billion
dělal
rounds,
odříkání,
for many years, and just eating
kdy
like a cow, just some
si
kitchery on
byl
the floor,
dělat
and he would
miliony
eat it off the floor
kol.
like a cow, and that went on
a
for years.
odříkání jedl stylem jako kráva, se za zády jen sbíral potravu ústy.
And then Krishna or Lord Chaitanya
A potom
came
pan
and
Chaitanya přišel
told him then to preach. He said, I don't have any men or money. So he said, I'll give you men and money.
a řekl mu,
And that's what happened.
že musí kázat, a on řekl, já nemám na to peníze, já ti je dám, tak se to tak stalo.
So he was attracting the cream of society of young men.
Takže on přitahoval společnost mladých lidí
And they became his brahmacharis and
a oni se
sannyasis.
stali jeho brahmačariny a sannyasíny.
So as Sita mentioned this morning, he was the one who began Gaudiya Math.
Takže on je ten, kdo začal Gaudiya Math.
Even though his father, Bhaktivédanty Thakur,
Přestože
told him, don't start any mutts because people will have a tendency to fight.
Přestože mu jeho otec Bhaktivédanty Narayana řekl, nezačínej žádný mat, protože
But
lidi
still
budou
he
mít
started mutts.
tendenci
Does that mean he disobeyed his spiritual
on
master and father?
neposlechl svého duchovního učitele a otce.
No, he took the warning of
Ale
what can happen in a
není.
mutt.
On si vzal jen to varování, co se může
And then he
stát.
trained his disciples
A potom
with that warning. Don't
trénoval
make it like that where you're quarreling.
své žáky s tím
And he
samým
trained all of his
varováním,
students very carefully.
aby se nehádali a velice pečlivě dbal na to, aby je v tomto směru vedl.
And then what was, Srila Bhaktivédanty Thakur wrote him a letter and said, I heard you
A pak,
started some mutts, can I come and stay with you for a while?
pak mu
To show that Prabhupada had really followed him.
Bhaktivédanty napsal dopis, ale slyšel jsem, že se založil nějaký mat, můžu tam přijet a chvilku tam pobít, abych zjistil, jak to děláš.
So
Aby se
not only
zjistil, že
did
se na
he
to následuje.
establish Gaudiya Math, but he re-established Varnashram Dharma.
On nejenom, že založil Gaudiya Math, on znovu založil Varnashram Dharma.
I think it was Sita who was mentioning this morning that the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they all wore white dress, white cloth.
Následovníci Chaitanya Mahaprabhu nosili všichni bílé oblečení.
Just one simple cloth. They were renounced, you know, the six Goswamis.
Jeden kus bílé látky.
Because they were like the Babajis of Radhakund today, who are
Ne, protože by byli jak dnešní babaji z Radhakundu.
take bhakti cheaply and imitate.
Nebo že by brali bhakti prostě snadno imitování.
Not all Babajis, but
Ne
many
všichni
Babajis of
těch
Radhakund
babaji samozřejmě.
imitate
Ale někteří babajijové imitují.
being a gopi, even in the stage where
Imitují
There's
postavení
barely-
gopí.
the beginning stages of bhakti,
Na počátku
and then initiate
úrovní bhakti.
their followers.
A zasvěcují
So
své
cheaply,
následovníky.
You're so and so. You're Rasagula Manjari. You're Adivasi.
Ty jsi tady to a tady to, ty máš takový
And
vztah.
then now do the bhajan for
Sradu
that. So, right. So, that's not how the six Goswamis were, as you
ale
know.
to
But they didn't want to wear the saffron
tak to
robes
nefungovalo.
of a sannyasi because they were thinking that Mahaprabhu is wearing saffron, and we want to present ourselves as lower,
A oni
so that's why they wore
šafrán,
white.
protože uvažovali, Mahaprabhu nosí šafrán a my prostě nemůžeme být na jeho rovně jsme nižší.
But gradually in the course of time,
Ale
I think you mentioned that,
během
in the course of
doby
time, things degraded,
se věci degradovaly.
and the whole Babaji system became debauched.
A přišel celý ten Babaji systém.
So, Šrily Prabhupada single-handedly re-established the lost system of Varnashram Dharma, which is a major feat.
Šrila Prabhupáda znovu založil systém Varnashrama dharmy.
And re-establishing sannyas, brahmachari,
A znovu založil sannyasy,
grihastha,
brahmachari,
vanaprastha.
grihasty, brahmanaprasty.
And on that basis, he preached all over the world.
A
His arms went west.
všude kázal v tomto smyslu.
Gurudev explained how his arms went west in the form of our Šrily Prabhupády.
Jeho paže směřovaly na západ, jeho ruce.
So,
V tomto
Srila Gurudev
kázání.
ended his lecture by saying, "May he be merciful to all of us today, shower his mercy on us, that we can attain, that we can practice pure bhakti and preach pure bhakti."
Takže ta přednáška končila modlitbou prayer. Let us,
may he be merciful to us today.
kež je k nám dneska milostivý,
May he shower his mercy,
kež nám dá svoji milost,
that we can practice pure
abychom
bhakti
mohli
and preach.
praktikovat čistou bhakti.
Oh, I just realized I didn't keep my promise to you from last night.
A teď jsem si uvědomila, že jsem se
Because we
nedodržela
were talking about
slib z
how
minulého
Chaitanya
večera,
Mahaprabhu came
když jsme mluvili o tom, jak
to
přišel
give,
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
He's Krishna, who came to taste the mood of the love for himself
Přišel
of Srimati
Krishna,
Radhika,
který chce zakusit chuť,
to experience that mood.
aby zakusil chuť nálady Šrimati Radiky.
Did you ever have a thing of, like you have a husband or a wife or a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and you know everybody's like paranoid in this world?
Když máte, máte manžela, manželku, přítele, přítelkyni a všichni domů si jsou trochu paranoidní.
So you're wondering, he just smiled. Or she just smiled.
On se usmál, nebo ona se usmála.
Why do they do that? What was behind that?
Proč to, co je zatím, co to znamená?
And I saw them looking over there. What were they looking
A
at?
teď vidím, že se tam,
But you can never figure it
co
out
to
if
znamená,
you're not them.
nikdy nemůžete zjistit.
So where does this desire come from?
Odkud tato touha pochází?
Janmad yasyataha, everything has its source in the absolute truth.
Všechno má původ v absolutní pravdě.
So Krishna is like that with Radha.
Krishna to má
So he tried in so many ways, disguising himself as demigoddess one day, and
způsoby se snažil
what else did he do?
zamaskovat někde jako polohu.
Huh?
Maybe a bangle seller or a dog seller.
Oh yeah, a garden's daughter.
Jako
Bohyně nebo dcera zahradníka nebo prodejce náramku. Sorry.
Who's the one that's, a singer, a girl singer
jako zpěvačka nějaká,
who got trained by Brihaspati in heaven.
jako trénovaná Brihaspati na nebeských planetách.
So, but try as he might, he could never fully quite understand what was going on with her.
Když se snažil sebevíst, tak mu nikdy nedošlo, co se v ní vlastně odehrálo.
Jo, nikdy vlastně neporozuměl té její náladě.
So, I forgot my point.
Yes, you were gonna.
Right, so he came to taste Radha's love and to give Raganuga Bhakti, more specifically Rupanuga Bhakti.
Takže on přišel, aby zakusil chuť nálady Radhy a dát Rupanuga Bhakti.
One devotee asked me just yesterday
Včera se mě jeden odaný ptal,
that my wife and I have been discussing lately that these emotions that we have they're not real emotions. They're not really our emotions.
Že diskutoval se svou manželkou o tom, že emoce, které vlastně mají, nejsou vlastně skutečné emoce.
Like in this world, I can never really taste spiritual emotions.
V tomto světě,
Even if I think, oh, I'm having a sentiment, I'm weeping during the kirtan, it's still just my mundane sentiment.
v tomto světě nemůžu nikdy zakusit duchovní emoce, že i když třeba, já nevím, se rozbrečím kirtanu nebo cokoliv, tak pořád jsou to jenom moje hmotné emoce.
And what to speak if I'm engaged in the activities of lust, anger, greed, pride, illusion, and
Než
envy.
kvůli o činnostech, chtíčích a podobně. A
So
to,
this
že-
is just dust thou word, dust thou beast. The emotions are just subtle dust.
Takže emoce jsou jenom usazený prach,
Shadow emotions.
stínové emoce.
So then the devotees were saying, so my wife and I were talking about how can we get real spiritual
Takže-
emotions?
Takže ten oddaný se ptal, jak můžeme
So I said, well, that
dosáhnout
was exactly what we were discussing tonight,
skutečné duchovní emoce.
because we're coming in this line from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
A my,
So the spiritual emotions, for most everybody in his line, is a Palyadasi or maid servant of Srimati Radhika.
no a my jsme v linii Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, takže ty skutečné emoce pro každého z nás jsou vlastně ty emoce.
So if I want spiritual emotions, I want to cultivate the sadhana to
Ty,
get there, to get those spiritual
ty
emotions.
emoce těch služebnic Srimati Radhiky, čili když chceme tyto emoce získat, tak musíme praktikovat sádhanu, abychom těch emocí duchovních dosáhli.
What is that verse of Šrily Prabhupády? Sri Rupanuga Bhakti Da. He came to give Rupanuga Bhakti.
Přišel, aby dal Rupanuga Bhakti.
So what are some sadhans? I said I was going to discuss that today. Some of our sadhana, how to chant
Okay,
Japa
takže
for that end,
slíbila jsem
how to
včera, že řeknu,
read
jakým
for that
způsobem dělat
end.
naši sádhanu, jak japovat, jak číst a tak dále.
So some of you already know these things, and others may not.
Někteří tyto věci znáte, ale někteří třeba ne.
So while we're chanting our japa,
Takže když čentujeme naši japu,
we can be thinking about those things that give us the goal that we want.
můžeme myslet na ty věci, které nám dají ten cíl, který chceme.
Without a goal, there's no question of a process.
Bez cíle nelze mluvit o procesu.
Without you all knowing that you were coming here tonight and this exact address of Malati's house, without knowing exactly where you were coming tonight,
Bez toho, abyste věděli, proč jste dneska přišli,
you wouldn't have even known which way to turn first after you left your house. Do I go this way or do I go that way?
nevěděli, jakmile jste opustili své domovy, jestli zahnout doprava nebo doleva.
So, some suggestions that Gurudev gave. We can think of those verses like the ones that were uttered by Šrily Prabhupády.
Takže,
Yasha kadapi vasanachala kelinota.
takže nějaké návrhy, co dal Gurudev, je
If the
myslet
Sanskrit
na
is
ty,
too hard and remembering the English meaning, Czech or English meaning, then we can just think of the English
na ty,
meaning.
na ty verše, které recitoval Šrila Prabhupád, tak i když je ten sanskrit třeba těžký, tak aspoň ten význam, na ten bychom měli myslet.
One day when many of us were doing singing the bhajans in England
Jednou,
in
když
2000,
v roce 2000 hodně z nás
he came back from his morning walk,
se sešlo v
sat on the
Anglii,
couch,
tak on
and
přišel za
said,
procházku.
by singing the bhajans, then or reading the bhajans or whatever, we're reading the Acharya's words in the first person singular. When will I?
A posadil se a říkal tím, že vlastně zpíváme bhajany nebo čteme bhajany, tak vlastně říkáme to, co říkali ačáryové v první osobě jednotného čísla, já.
So he was suggesting that we remember those kirtans
Takže navrhoval,
while we're chanting.
abychom si uvědomovali, proč to zpíváme a co zpíváme vlastně.
One day I asked him,
Jednou jsem se ho zeptala,
is it okay to remember the prayer to Giriraj, Govardhan, while I'm chanting japa?
když zpívám japu, je to dobře, když myslím na Giriraja Govardhan?
Because japa is to Radha and Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Protože japa je vlastně jména.
So he said, you can pray to anyone who can help you.
On říká, můžeš se modlit ke komukoliv, kdo ti může pomoci.
So the prayer to Govardhan that I was telling Gurudev is Pramada Madana Leela Kandare Kandare Te. Oh Govardhan,
A to je ta modlitba ke Govardhanu, o které jsem mluvila.
you are witnessing 24 hours a day the pastimes of Radha and Krishna in your
24
caves
hodin
and
denně si
kunjas.
svědkem zábav Radhy a Krishny, jejich nosných zábav.
And you're experiencing unlimited ecstasy in doing so.
A zažíváš neomezenou extázi přitom.
So even though I'm a bad devotee, I'm wretched, fallen,
Protože jsem
no taste,
špatná, oddaná, nemám žádnou chuť.
please give me a residence at your lotus feet so that I can also witness those pastimes.
Prosím, nech mě spočinout u tvých lotosových nohou a tak mohu být svědkem těch zábav.
So therefore Gurudev said you can pray to anyone who can help you.
A proto Gurudev říká, můžeš se
So
modlit
Giriraj,
ke komukoliv, kdo ti může
Jamuna,
pomoci.
Purnamasi,
Jamuna.
they're all there in the holy names.
Ti jsou všichni ve svatém jménu.
Amala Harinam Ami Abhilasa. Šrily Bhaktissidhanty Thakur sings. In the holy names are all the pastimes of Krishna and his associates.
Zpívá ve svatém jménu jsou všechny zábavy z Krishny.
So you can pray to anyone
Takže se můžete modlit ke
who
komukoliv,
can come up from there
kdo tam odsud přichází.
into the sound vibration to pray to them. Any one of them who's there as part of the pastimes.
Jo, každý z nich je součástí těch zábav.
Then another time I asked him,
A jindy jsem se zeptal,
so is it alright if like I have a prayer book on my lap
je to,
so that not while chanting will I do the two things together of, oh wow, that person's birth is successful by good fortune, Ram Ram Hari Hari. Not
jestli
like
je
that.
OK mít knihu modlitek před sebou a zatímco japuju, tak vlastně dělám dvě věci najednou. Čtu si ty modlitby a japuju.
I was asking if I could sometimes look down at the prayer
Ptala jsem,
and then look up and then chant and remember the prayer.
ptala jsem se, jestli můžu občas mrknout na tu modlitbu, zapamatovat si, mrknout nahoru a pak zase čintovat
Like a crutch.
vzpomínání na tu modlitbu.
And he said, yes, you can do that until you get mercy.
Můžeš to dělat, dokud nedostaneš milost.
In other words, when you get mercy, that's going to be a flood.
Protože jakmile dostaneš tu milost, tak to bude záplava.
So these are some things. Oh, another one was in the beginning of the songbook, the prayer to Lord Chaitanya.
Na začátku toho zpěvníku je modlitba k Pánu Čaitanyovi.
Because I was just hearing Gurudev say tonight that when you're chanting, always think, oh, I'm so wretched, I'm such a bad devotee.
Když jsem slyšela Gurudeva, jak říká, když japuju, tak myslím na to, jak jsem špatný.
Oh, Nityananda Prabhu, please be merciful to me.
Nityananda Prabhu, prosím, buď mi
Give me
milostivý.
taste for this name.
Dej mi chutí pro jeho jméno.
Oh yeah, so there's a prayer to Lord Chaitanya.
Takže tam je ta modlitba k Pánu Čaitanyovi.
Samsara dukkha jalado patitasya kama krodari nakramakai kavalipatasya durvasana negatitasya nirasrayasya Chaitanya Chandra mama dehi padavalambam. Oh Chaitanya Chandra, I am under the big net of material existence.
O Pánu Čaitanyovi jsem zachycen ve velké podsítí hmotné existence.
And that net
A to
is under the ocean of material existence.
je pod
Not
oceánem
just an airy
hmotné
net.
existence.
And not only that,
A nejen to,
I'm being eaten alive
jsem
under the water
jeden zaživa
by the crocodiles and alligators of lust,
krokodýly a
anger, and
aligátory.
greed.
Chtíče a
Aha.
Jo, krokodýly a aligátory chtíče.
And not only that,
a nejen to.
I can't break myself free by ripping the net
Nemůžu se osvobodit tím, že bych roztrhal tu síť,
because my hands are chained behind my back
protože mám ruce svázané řetězy za
with
zády.
the chains of wicked desires.
A ty řetězy to jsou touhy.
So, O Chaitanya Chandra, please give me shelter of your lotus feet.
Takže, pane Chaitanya, poskytni mi ochranu u svých lotosových nohou.
So many prayers Gurudev gave, not Gurudev gave, our acharyas gave through
A
him.
naši acharyové skrze něho nám dali takové množství modliteb.
Yeah. So then reading. I mention this wherever I go, anywhere.
Takže ohledně
How to read.
čtení.
The Gurudev explained this.
Mluvím o tom všude, kamkoliv chodím, může Gurudev vysvětlovat.
Let's say we're reading
Řekněme, že čteme
Chaitanya Charitamrita,
Chaitanya Charitamrita,
Ramananda Rai Sambad.
Ramananda Rai.
Lord Chaitanya's conversation with Ramananda Rai in the Madhya Lila.
Madhya Lila konverzace Chaitanya s Ramanandou Rajem.
So we take the book like this,
Takhle si tu knihu
on
vezmeme.
the head, on the heart, and we pray,
Klávě k srdci a modlíme
Oh
se.
Prabhu,
Opravdu,
you're not a book.
ty nejsi kniha.
So let's see, what kind of book is this? This is the Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Co je to za knihu?
So,
Je to Chaitanya
You
Charitamrita.
are
Takže se
Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami
Krishnadas
yourself.
Kaviraj Goswami. Duše Krishnadas.
Let's say it's our Prabhupada's translation in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Like you have the in Czech, you have all those 3 big volumes of Chaitanya
Máme tady
Charitamrita.
i v češtině 3 svazky Chaitanya Charitamrity.
So you are Šrily Prabhupády yourself, because he gave us the English,
překlady, tak si
along with the commentaries of
Šrila Prabhupáda
Šrily
osobně.
Prabhupády Bhaktisidhanty Saraswati Thakur and Šrily Bhaktivédanty Thakur, and your own realizations.
Takže na základě vlastních realizací buď Šrila
And you're Lord Chaitanya yourself,
Šrila Bhaktivédanty Thakur,
O Prabhu.
jsi sám Chaitanya.
And you are Ramananda Rai yourself.
Asi taky sám Ramananda
And
Rai.
what are you talking about? You're the gopis
Taky
and
Gopie
Krishna
a Krishna.
yourselves.
Samotný Krishna s Gopěmi.
So please, all of you,
Prosím všichni z vás,
shower your mercy on me or us, depending if it's a group prayer,
dejte mi vaši milost.
as we sit here at your lotus feet
Jak tady sedíme u vašich lotosových nohou
on the bank of the Godavari River,
na břehu řeky
and you're personally speaking to us.
a vy k nám osobně mluvíte.
So please shower your mercy on us so that we can become free from all doubts,
Dejte nám prosím svou milost, aby jsme byli osvobozeni od všech pochybností.
so that we can realize what you're saying, what you're telling us
Abychom
personally,
mohli
or me
pochopit to,
personally.
co říkáte a to, co nám osobně sdělujete.
And one time, when he was, because I've heard him say this several times, one
Několikrát
time
jsem
he
ho to
said, so
slyšela
that I
říkat.
can become a Radhadasi by reading it.
A jednou jsem ho slyšela říkat, abych se mohl stát Radharasi
And
čtením.
then Gurudev explained that there's so many
A pak Gurudev
big scholars of Vrindavan, Mathura,
vysvětlil, že ve Vrindavanu Matuře je tolik mnoho
that they go to him
učenců,
to find out explanations of Shastric verses and commentaries.
kteří k němu chodí, aby jim dal vysvětlení na
He said, why do they come to me?
A on říká, proč ke mně chodí?
Because I pray like this when I
Protože
read.
já se modlím tímto způsobem.
And he said, if you don't pray like this, but you just pick up a book to read and think you're going to understand it,
Říká, když se takhle nemodlíte, tak si jenom vezmete knížku, otevřete a myslíte si, že ji budete
you'll be
rozumět.
full of all doubts.
Budete plný pochybností.
So I think that's it for tonight.
Myslím, že pro
It's
dnešek je
already
to
10
všechno.
to 8.
Za 10:08.
And so I'd like to ask if there's any questions or
Rád
comments.
bych se zeptala, jestli jsou
There's so many
nějaké
things to
otázky.
say about offering boga
Je mnoho věcí
in
ohledně,
that Rupanuga mood,
o
and
čem jsme
so
mluvili,
many things to say
obětování
about
Body, Rupanugamu,
offering arti, in that mood.
aráty v náladě
But
duchovní
we'll
zář.
save that for next
A
time.
to všechno, ale to o tom můžu mluvit někdy příště.
Yes.
It's very difficult.
Loud?
It's very difficult for me to chant. So sometimes I put my Gurudev chanting on my phone, and then while I'm listening him
So he's
chanting, I
chanting?
am chanting with him. And sometimes I read something as well. So I am listening him, I am reading, and I am chanting. And
Reading
this
while
is
you're
very-
chanting?
Yeah,
Okay.
this is wrong.
I'll translate.
Sorry.
Oh, if it were only that easy,
So
my life would be different.
Někdy je pro mě těžké čentovat, tak si pouštím nahrávky mýho Gurudeva, jak čentuje, když dělám džapu. A někdy, did you say you are reading while chanting?
yeah.
A někdy i čtu, když džapuju.
So how can I fix
Listening
my mind while I'm chanting?
Listening to your Gurudev chanting and thinking that he's with you and you're chanting together is fine.
A jak
But
mohu,
just the simultaneous reading and chanting that.
It's also not okay to listen
Huh?
to listen class while you're chanting.
Yeah,
is
no.
not okay, so isn't it? I do that in my enjoyer.
You do that.
I love to do that.
There's no harm in
I'd say it's better than not chanting, I guess. That's what I put it down to.
It's like to chant japa during Harikatha. No.
No, not
Not
while
okay.
they're physically present.
It's
but
almost
if there's a movie
similar.
on, I can chant. Or it's relaxing.
Okay, ta otázka byla, jak můžu upevnit svoji mysl na to čentování, tak odpověď byla, že poslouchat Gurudeva, jak čentuje, když čentuje, OK. A to čtení už úplně tak ne.
and I'm paying attention to the class.
Paying attention, but chanting at the same time.
Great. But you can't count those rounds.
A poslouchá přednášku, když džapuje. A Jadurání se ptala, jestli věnuje pozornost té přednášce. Ona říká, jo, vím přesně, co tam je. Ona říká, no ale pak můžeš dát svá kola.
Takže si je nemůže jako započítat, víš co, že to vlastně, jestli řekne, že si hold má, jo, takhle.
Any other questions?
But it's
Další.
different to I open the book, I search some verse, and I meditate on. I think it's mantra mayupasana. So
Well, I'll say yes to the first half of the question and no to the second half.
yeah.
It's yes, because Gurudev authorized that until we get mercy, to look at a verse, look up, and then remember it.
Okay, ta otázka byla. So the question was, you read a verse and then you try to remember it, right? To meditate on it.
Yes.
Yes, so
So-
that's,
Přečte
fine.
verš, snaží
Yeah.
se
but it's not
zapamatovat,
mantra maya
meditovat na
upasana.
něm.
Mantra maya upasana is that meditating on one particular pastime,
Yeah.
but that comes at the stage of bhakti or asakti.
Ale meditování na určité zábavě je něco jiného.
Right now I can only meditate on my material conception.
Momentálně můžu meditovat pouze o nějakém materiálním pojetí svém.
I'm imagining what Mother Yasoda looks like, depending on some, little bit plump lady that I've met, a few weeks ago here in Prague.
Můžu si jen představovat nějaké
And then I put a sari on her in my mind. So we can only meditate on our material conception of the thing.
Můžeme
To
meditovat jen
actually meditate on the thing, to have it be called Mantra Maya Upasana, is a very high stage. What to speak of Swarasika Upasana, where I have a flood of pastimes coming.
ale může meditovat jen na základě svého materiálního pojetí, ale meditovat na těch nejvyšších zábavách, to je něco jiného.
Any other?
Jiná otázka.
You touch a little bit topic of separation.
Mluvila jste trochu o tématu odloučení.
Sometimes it's difficult to understand that separation is higher than to be presence of
Někdy
our beloved.
Těžké porozumět, že odloučení je vyšší úroveň, než to být spolu.
You mean when the beloved object is Krishna?
Yeah, because we have our material experience,
Že máme naši hmotnou
and
zkušenost.
we prefer to be with our beloved object than to be in separation.
A my preferujeme být s naším milovaným objektem, v našem hmotném pojetí,
Separation
než
is not
odloučení.
higher. Meeting is higher.
Odloučení není větší. To
So
setkání je
without
větší.
separation, meeting cannot be nourished.
Ale bez odloučení nelze živit to
Just
setkání.
imagine an ocean. Like, did you ever go to Jagannath Puri?
No.
Who here went to Jagannath Puri?
Kdo zde byl v Jadurání?
Who here stood at the ocean and watched it like it was a TV show?
A kdo z nás koukal na oceán, koukal na to jako na...
Why? Because it's so interesting when there are waves.
Protože ty vlny jsou velice zajímavé.
Imagine an ocean without waves.
Představte si oceán bez vln.
So meeting, it gets boring.
Že
There has
setkání,
to be-
setkání je nuda.
There has
Musí
to
tam
be
být
something
něco,
to interrupt the meeting,
co naruší to
so that
setkání.
number one, the next meeting is increased happiness.
Aby při tom dalším setkání bylo to štěstí navýšeno.
And so there's 4 kinds of separation in the pastimes of Radha and Krishna.
V zábavách Rady až Krišny jsou 4 stupně
One is called
odloučení.
Purvarag, separation before ever meeting each other.
Z první odloučení je odloučení předtím, než se vůbec potkali.
One is man, or the lovers are together but they're not talking to each other.
To druhé je, že oni jsou spolu, ale nemluví spolu.
Or Krishna's trying but she's not interested.
Krišna se snaží, ale
So he's feeling separation even though they're there
on
together.
cítí odloučení, když ona tam je.
And then there's when he goes cow herding,
A
and for a few hours.
potom, když
And
jde
then when he
pár,
goes to a distant country like Mathura or
na
Dwarka.
pár hodin do
So
Párské Arabie,
separation
a když
nourishes
jde úplně
meeting.
jinam, třeba do Dvaraky.
Plus, when there's separation, there's an internal meeting by absorption. So meeting is higher than separation.
Takže to setkání je víc než to odloučení.
There's only 2 people,
Jenom 2 lidi,
2 main people, who prefer to have Radha and Krishna separated than meet.
pouze 2 lidi preferují
Do you know who they are?
mít Rádhu a Krišnu v odloučení, než aby
Gurudev
byli spolu.
explained who they are.
A víte, kdo jsou ti 2?
Yes? Chandravali
Chandravali
and Kamsa. So, the gopis always want to be meeting with Krishna,
Gopi se neustále chtějí
and
setkávat
Krishna
s
wants to
Krišnou.
always be meeting with the
A
gopis.
Krišna se chce neustále
But
setkávat s
still he
Gopimi.
creates the concept of separation
Proto
to
vytváří
nourish the meeting.
koncept odloučení, aby
Does that answer your
to živilo
question?
Yeah, thanks.
to setkání.
So, therefore, our Chaitanya Mahaprabhu
Proto náš
And
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu
Rupa Goswami and all of his followers
až
have taught the sadhan of separation. Not that, yes, I saw Radha and Krishna dancing last night, but the separation, when oh when. Like the Goswamis. Where are you, Krishna? Where are you, Radha?
odloučení jako
Somewhere on
Goswami.
Govardhan? Are you on the banks of the
Kde jsi
Yamuna?
Krišna, kde jsi
Are you underneath the Bangsi Bar tree? Where are you all now? Lalita, Vishaka.
Rovna.
So the moods of separation, without separation, but there's no bhajan.
Nálada odloučení bez odloužení, ale
By separation, as it goes higher and higher,
to
there's
odloučení, když to
a
výše a
point
výše,
of slight meeting
tak je
in
tam,
that separation
tak je tam
by the bhajan
určitý bod
sadhana.
lehkého
then-
setkání.
And then when that very slight touch of meeting is there,
A když je tam ten jemný dotek
the
toho
separation
setkání,
then becomes greater.
tak pak to odloučení je ještě větší.
And then the meeting becomes greater.
A pak i ten,
And
to
so
setkání je
Gurudev
větší.
quoted Srila Prabhupády Bhaktivédanty Saraswati Thakur as saying, separation and meeting
A proto pak ty
go like
Saraswati
that
vysvětluje, že tímto
forever.
způsobem
it starts in the world
neustále,
of
bez,
sadhana,
nemá
and then
konce,
it
jde
continues
vedle
forever
sebe
in the world
odloučení a
of
setkání.
Siddhabhumi. Well, it's already 8 o'clock.
Už je 8.
Short and sweet.
It was a very short and very sweet
Byla to
visit.
velmi krátká a sladká návštěva Prahy.
Thank you to
Děkujeme Malati.
Malati for being a fabulous.
He's the guilty one.
He invited us. We had. I met him over 20 years ago
Já
in
jsem ho
Prague.
potkala před
But
více
I
než
didn't
20
remember
lety.
him at all. So then he wrote to me out of the blue 20 years
A
later.
pak mi najednou po
We
20
were on the way
letech
to London. He said, "Can you come
z ničeho nic
here
napsal,
first?" And Susanti would never
že
say
jdu do
yes, but
Londýna,
she
tak
said
jestli
yes.
bych nemohla přijít. Tak jsem řekla, že
And
jo.
then he organized everything. He
A potom
organized,
všechno zařídil.
got in touch with Malati. He got in touch with the priest the other night.
Domluvil Malati, domluvil toho kněze ten pátek
And
večer.
people are watching that all over the place. In Austin and America.
A
And,
lidé to
That sounds like over 1,000
sledují.
people already online.
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Please let me express my respect to our parampara, which goes down to your person, and
Chtěl vyjádřit úctu naší parampaře, která jde až k vaší osobě.
vy byste pro mě donedávna byla osoba, pouze, kterou jsem v aktuální době znal jenom z YouTube, z internetu.
You were for me just a person that I knew just from YouTube until recently.
A pořád nemůžu uvěřit tomu, že teď
I still can't believe my eyes that you are sitting here.
Chtěl bych se připojit k těm díkům, které byly vyjádřeny
I would like to express my thanks to
Malati, bez jejíž
and to
podpory by
Malati, express
neproběhla.
my thanks to Malati. Without her help, it wouldn't happen.
Chtěl bych poděkovat všem, kdo sem dneska
I would
přišli,
like to thank everyone who joined this party,
zvlášť Matajím, díky kterým proběhl krásný harinám dnes.
especially Ganga Mata's Matajis, which performed a beautiful harinam.
Děkuji vám všem mnohokrát, thank you very much.
And
Thank
beautiful.
you.
Arrivo!
And the way they sing is just incredible. And so, also what they were doing every day here is that they're putting books free into hostels and hospitals.
A každý den tady rozdávali knížky zadarmo do hostelů, do nemocnic. Kromě toho, že nádherně zpívali.
And thanks to the GBP book sponsorship to sponsor those books that they can go freely and seeds can
Děkujeme
be
za
planted.
sponsorship i těch knih.
And then so many people on the streets got books as well.
A mnoho lidí na ulicích ty knihy dostali.
So they came on airplane. They were so self-sacrificing. Came on the airplane at great expense with lots and lots of books, and they're going home empty-handed.
Letadlem za hrozný peníze se spoustou knih a
So that
domů
reminds
letí s
me,
prázdnýma rukama.
we still have a little bit that we wanted.
Ale pořád trošku ještě něco máme, takže
We have 5 of these left.
mám 5 tady těch.
Christmas is coming. It's my memoirs with Prabhupada.
Přijdou Vánoce, to jsou mé
There are
vzpomínky.
1,000 sepia pictures, photos, paintings,
Mraky fotek,
and
obrázků.
about 30 colored pictures,
30
letters from
obrázků,
Prabhupada,
dopisy od
personal
Prabhupády,
instructions,
osobní instrukce.
what he did when we weren't with him, you know, all the other things that he did.
Co dělal, spoustu věcí, když jsme s ním nebyli.
So I know you all know devotees who love Prabhupada, so
Já vím,
we
že
have
jste
5 of
všichni,
these if you want to get them.
kteří milujete Prabhupádu.
And this is one book I didn't actually show
A to je kniha, kterou jsem neukázal.
the other day. This is the only one I didn't show. This is Journey of the Soul.
Jediná, kterou jsem neukázala, Journey of the Soul, Cesta duše.
The inception of this book, or the idea for this book,
Myšlenku té knihy
came because some groups were trying to spread another misconception
některé
that we
skupiny
fell
se
from Goloka
snažily
Vrindavan.
šířit jiné miskoncepce.
So this book was made on Gurudev's order,
Tato kniha byla vytvořena
which is
příkaz Gurudeva.
1/3 Gurudev's lectures,
Je to třetina
1/3 excerpts
třetiny
from Šrily
přednášky
Prabhupády,
Gurudeva
and 1/3 Jiva Dharma.
třetina Prabhupádových přednášek a třetina
by Šrily Bhaktissidhanty Jadurání herself. So this is also, there's maps and charts and so much evidence of how we manifested into Tasta region, and so many charts and maps and paintings, and there are little squares in there, quotes from Šrily Prabhupády to confirm what Srila Gurudev is saying. So it's really amazingly clarifying book. And lots of morning walks too, where devotees are asking that question. So that's available. And it's any number of books and any number of, are there posters left? Except for the memoir.
Jakékoliv množství knížek, kromě těch vzpomínek a jakýkoliv množství obrázků je k dispozici. To, co tu je v tom.
The price of the memoir is fixed like our swarup.
Ta cena je pevná jako naše svarupa.
Except unlike the swarup, it can change a little bit if somebody's poor. And then there's the harmony book. Is this also all for all? I mean, any for any? Or do we just want to? Well, who? Any price. Oh, that's what we usually do, but I'll tell you later why I asked. So, friend what?
She has to go.
Oh, which friend? Can I see you?
So,
can I see what you look like? Oh, so do you want anything before you go?
My last train is going 9 o'clock.
No, but you want to just take something with you?
I would like.
Huh?
I would like very much.
Oh, we're just going to be quick here. So here's
Just
this. Here's this. Did you get a memoir yet?
Yes.
You did, okay. So that's it. Okay. So have a good train ride, and we'll keep in touch. And we don't want to hold you up. I'm saying we don't want to hold you up. And we're late anyway. Okay, see ya. Have a good train ride.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much.
Alright, so that's that. So you can see the Ganga Matas about that. And what do we do now? Arti? Huh?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Gaur Premanand,
Hari
Šrily Prabhupády Bhaktivédanty Narayana Maharádže, Tira Bhakti Ji Mahamahotsav Ki Jai, Mahotsav Ki Jai, Mahamahotsav Ki Jai.
Srimad Bhaktivédanty Narayana Maharádže ki Srimati Samarání didi ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Sri Rupanuga Guru Parampara ki
She gets memoir? But I don't understand what I like.
Haribol.
Well, our flight's not till the evening.
Jai Shri Guru Garanga Gandhar Ki Gidhari Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ji Ki Jai Radha Gopinath Ji Ki Jai Om Vishnu Pad Brahma Sabheva Prachara Rasatara Sabhashishma Shri Bhaktivédanty Narayana Maharádže Ki Jai Vishnu Vishnu Pad Brahma Shri Bhaktivédanty Swami Prabhupády Ki Jai Vishnu Pad Brahma Shri Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Prabhu Gurudev Ki Jai Vishnu Pad Brahmamsa Jagat Guru Šrily Bhaktissidhanty Saraswati Goswami Thakur Šrily Prabhupády Ki Jai Tadiyeshu Bhatirabhati Timam Motsav Ki Jai Jai Mahabhavat Šrily Gokishore Das Loji Maharaj Ki Jai Saptam Goswami Sachidananda Šrily Bhaktivinoda Thakur Prabhu Ki Jai Vaishnava Sarvamon Šrily Jagannatha Swabji Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Shri Gauriya Vedantacharya Šrily Baladevi Bhushan Prabhu Ki Jai Krishna Chakra Thakur Prabhu Ki Jai Shri Narottam Srinivasa Shamananda Dipavitraya Ki Jai Shri Rup Sanatan Bhata Raghunath Shri Ji Gopal Patadasa Raghunath Sat Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai Jai Shri Sarup Damodar Ramananda Sikh Mahiti Madhavi Devi Adi Gaura Parshada Vrinda Ki Jai Jai Shri Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Prabhu Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Madhavendra Puripade Shri Puripade Ji Ki Jai Shri Navadvip Dham Keta Dham Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Shri Radha Madha Mohan Radha Govinda Radha Gopinath Ji Ki Jai Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ji Ki Jai Jai Shri Lalita Vishakha Adi Sasaki Vrinda Ki Jai Chamanjari Ratamanjari Adi Saki Vrinda Ki Jai Jai Shri Pranad Masaka Vrinda Ki Jai Jai Shri Sava Vishwabadata Shri Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Gopeshwar Mahadeva Ki Jai Purnamasi Jogamaya Devi Ki Jai Charo Sambadaya Charo Jaja Charo Dham Ki Jai Karamata Raja Sri Chaitanya Mat Ki Jai Shri Keshav Ji Gauriya Mat Ki Jai Oriananda Sakamata Samuha Ki Jai Jai Shri Bhakti Vigna Vinasa Krishna Singha Bhagwan Ki Jai Bhakta Prabha Shri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudasan Chakra Ji Ki Jai Jai Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Anantapati Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Samakata Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Nitai Gau Premanande Hari Shrimati Samarání didi ki Jai!
It's cold now.
You're right. Oh my God, you're right on the calendar. Yeah, actually, it's in the right